What up, Grizz Nation, and welcome back to another Grizz 901 live post-game show right here on Bluff City Media. We're going to get into all of the entire game, but also talk a little bit about Jalen Wells. Another big game out of Zach Edey and what came from that. I have my thoughts, and so I'll hold those just for a little bit. But the Grizzlies win 124-100 tonight in a much needed win. Every single win down the stretch is going to be must needed by this team as they have 3 more games remaining. This game should bring them tied with a lot of other teams that are going to be there fighting for their last chance and a big playoff push as everybody's going in. But we'll break down the game as we always do. I have another good Grizz Trivia, aka King Meeks Trivia, here about midway through the show. So make sure you tune in about midway, about 30 minutes into the show. We'll make sure we do some Grizz Trivia. And then we have another look ahead by Ryan Meadows, who was so nice and so kind to give us the look ahead that we have tonight. But that's all we got. Nate's here. Let's get to it. Well, hello there, sir.
Hello.
All right, so the Grizzlies win 124-100. It was a game that honestly got out pretty early. But just kind of off the top, man, your thoughts about the game as a whole. Let's stay away from the Wells stuff. But as a whole, what's your thoughts just overall about the game?
Let's just get to the brass tacks. Professional victory against the team that sucks. John Morant continues to look awesome. We're going to get to a guy in a minute. We have to spend a lot of time on a certain guy, so I'll just leave it for that. Bro, that team is an abomination against God himself that they just played. Like, they're borderline make the owner sell the freaking team.
You're
so
talking
bad.
about Jalen Wells.
They're losing on purpose. They continuously have no direction. Like, they just let LaMelo Ball go out and probably like he's on NBA Street or whatever. And then they lose anytime anyways. So they have this exciting young star you don't even get to watch because they're so ass cheeks. And then that's what happens when you have something like that out there. Is dumb shit like that happens to a player.
Yeah.
Like, again, we don't have to get into it too much. It sounds like he's mostly okay, but I'm getting here from Kenny, broken wrist. He's out. So That's what happens, though. Like, everybody wants to go and hate on KJ. I'm not going to sit there and just throw a kid under the bus who clearly was at a stupid play. Should he not have done it? Should he get a fine for it? 100%. But was not trying to do it on purpose. But that's what happens when you have an ass franchise like that goes out and throws garbage out night in and night out. It's just trash. Like, the entire organization is garbage.
Yeah.
Like, borderline, they should be yelling at their owners trying to get them to sell the team. Like, it's not borderline. If I was a Charlotte fan, I would be trying to get them to sell the team. So I want to get that out of the way because I had to watch that crap. And every time, like, we watched them earlier this year, and I was like, oh, like, is that even an NBA team? Like, besides LaMelo Ball, what about that's an NBA team? A guy that probably shouldn't be in the league at all. The only other bright spot for him.
Yeah.
While we're sitting here getting mad at Job out finger guns, you got a guy who's literally beating women. But hey, oh no.
All right, we'll get into the grenade of it all. That is John Morant and what he's doing now with his celebration, because I thought that was pretty funny. But just let's go ahead and get into Jalen Wells. Shams Charania had just reported here a few minutes ago that Jalen Wells, alert and moving in his extremities after taking that hard fall, was stretchered out. If you missed it, it was a clip from behind on a dunk or layup kind of type attempt on a breakaway. KJ Simpson, who, in my opinion, was just an idiot, and he made the wrong decision, got caught, and clipped Jalen Wells. Was it a dirty play? No, I do not think so. Was it a dumb play, like an idiotic play? 100%. Like, he wasn't trying to hurt Jalen Wells.
It wasn't
everything that he did after he'd completely clipped him showed me that he actually cared for him and did not mean to deliberately do it. So I don't want any hate to KJ Simpson. If you want to call him an idiot or you want to call him a dummy, like a just was not very safe player, that's okay. Fair game.
Yeah.
But saying it was a dirty play on his, like that it was on his attempt, like what he did was dirty. I don't think he was deliberately doing anything. So at that point, I don't know if you can call it dirty. So just completely across the board. But Jalen Wells' agent says he sustained a broken right wrist, which would be his shooting wrist. And so at that point, out for the season, like done. Like,
yeah, you can't come back in time for the play. I mean, unless the Grizzlies make a miracle run that none of us see coming, there's no possible way.
Yeah.
Even then, it's super, super tough. So, yeah, Jalen Wells' season ends because of that.
Yep.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Definitely. And it's a bad way for him to end his rookie season, which has a lot of questions that will be having to figure out at this point, right? Who's going to step into that? We're going to get into it a little bit later on. Let's go ahead and talk about the game. And yes, it was a dumb play, not completely a dirty play, definitely a dumb play. Let's talk about it from the very beginning. All right. And I see there's one that I want to pull up before I get to here.
Let's do it.
I'm looking for it. Let's go ahead and get into it. If you would. I cannot find it now. I can't. I'm looking for the Maple Main. Whoever said that, put it up again. Here it is. D'Angelo Quinn said the Maple Main. I actually do like that one. That one's pretty funny. So, dude, let's get into it. I know. Listen, I was wrong. I was right on betting. I will say that. I was right on betting. Whoa. But I will say that just completely overall, Zach Edey, 17 points, 19 rebounds, no assists. He doesn't know how to pass the ball. He doesn't get the ball very often, but he played the Charlotte Hornets. So your thoughts on Zach Edey?
Bro, how much did we underestimate how bad Taylor Jenkins was at his job this year? I mean, we were never on the super fire Taylor train, but we were like, dude, come on. Like, he's clearly not doing his job well. I was like, I can't believe what it looks like at this point. I mean, truly, like I was sitting there and I think I have been less critical of Edey than you. Like I've appreciated his development throughout the year. But I'm like, man, it's not going to be this year. You know, I still, and to be clear, I still worry about him against like the best teams because what happened to him against Boston, I think is what happens in the playoffs and a lot of times. But dude, he looks like a monster. And he's not doing it. Like last time we talked about it, like, okay, it was against like Jackson Hayes or whatever, which is like, okay. I get it. Like, that's nothing to brag about. He's now done it against Golden State, Bam Adebayo, Kello, where Isaiah Stewart, who, let's get to this, Isaiah Stewart is on the physical as you can get end of centers. And then he turns around as a DeMarc Williams, who's supposed to be the athletic of athletic centers. Now, if you want to argue to me, hey, Mark Williams is worthless, I just watched that game, I wouldn't necessarily disagree. Like, he was a part of the abomination.
He doesn't want, dude, it's 3 games to go in the season. Why does he care at this point? I overestimated that he would actually care. None of the Charlotte Hornets players care.
Doesn't matter.
It looked like
it. Doesn't matter, man. Edey looks like an animal. He's done it against athletic centers. He's done it against good teams. He's done it against tough centers. Like, bro.
But has he, though?
Yes, dude. What else would you describe Isaiah Stewart as?
Isaiah Stewart's not a tough center. Like he's fine, but he's not a center. Why do you think they have Jalen Duren?
Would that be the right descriptor for you to just own that he was actually good against somebody who's a bruiser? What are we talking about?
No, I don't think. No, I don't think Isaiah Stewart's a bruiser.
If he is nothing, he is physical. I don't know what to tell you. You're just insane. I don't understand.
Maybe he's physical.
Why can't you just say he's been awesome? I'm not some kind of Edey truther.
The last 3 games
are notorious for yelling at each other.
Last 3 games, he's been good. He's been good. But that, like, what we're talking about
in 2 games, dude.
Jackson Hayes didn't have to play against Jalen Duren, who would have probably took care of him pretty well because he doesn't move. Like I felt like he would have dominated him much. Isaiah Stewart, honestly, the only thing Isaiah Stewart's good at is fighting. That's really the only thing he's good at.
Sure.
Hey, name me a award or something good that Isaiah Stewart's got.
fighting, but that's beside the point.
Exactly. That's it. Like let's just say Isaiah Stewart's he's a bruiser.
You're
He's
just
physical.
reaching, buddy. It's okay. You're just reaching.
No, I'm
It's
saying
okay.
like literally until he plays somebody that's good. I don't see it yet. He's playing very well right now. But let's also talk about it's not about the regular season stuff. It's all about like, hey, is he going to be on the court when you need him in the playoffs? Zero chance. Zero chance. He'll be on the court when you need him. He'll get played off the court 100%.
I would have been 100% on board with you beforehand. Zero chance he makes it on the court in the playoffs.
So you caved. I get it.
Okay.
I get it.
Okay, Daniel. I caved. You know what I caved by doing? Watching basketball and watching a dude be awesome again and again and again. You know, out of his 6 games, he only has 1. He didn't get double-digit rebounds. And it was against Boston. But guess who they don't have to play in the playoffs?
A good team.
Guess who they don't have to play in the playoffs? It's Boston.
We wish we had to play them, but we don't.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen. Let's just be really clear. But, dude, looks like an absolute animal. And also, like, he looks like a monster right now.
Isaiah Stewart's 6'8", bro. 6'8".
Doesn't matter. It's about physicality. What did we talk about Edey for half of the beginning of the year? He's getting pushed around. Doesn't matter that he's big. His size doesn't matter. Guess what? It mattered.
Oh, size does matter. That's what I was always told in my life.
Well, you had to be told for a reason. But he did it against a guy whose nickname is Beef Stew. And then he did it against a hyper-athletic center. And he did it against the Heat, who have 2 really athletic guys that play down low. Sorry. He looks awesome. Is he going to get play off the court against teams that can space the floor and shoot? Probably. But I'm going to give flowers where flowers are due. He's been awesome. He's been an animal. He's got 40 rebounds in 2 games. Give props to Maple Maine. I couldn't have sounded wider.
I will say that Maple Maine he's played well, for sure. Like of the last 3 games, he's played well. I will say that it's been about sus competition, in my opinion. Listen, I will be the first one that will go back if I was wrong, but I want to see.
No, you won't.
100%. I will go back and I will apologize. Did I apologize about Brandon Clark?
What about Brandon Clark?
Did I apologize for being wrong about Brandon Clark?
I genuinely don't remember.
Because you don't care about my feelings. This is where I'm at. Like, I have feelings, and yes, I've had problems. It's all about girth in my life, and so that's what I've had the problems with. And so I will say that just in general, Zach Edey's been good.
Yes, of course he has.
For the last 3 games. But if you look at the other games, like so he had 16 rebounds against Golden State and then 2 rebounds against Boston. Like, that's because that's a playoff type competition. They're going to play him off the court. He did have 11 rebounds versus the Lakers and Jackson Hayes. But my thing is what will happen when it comes playoff time? So what I'll say is I will go ahead and say, yes, he's playing good right now. I want to see him play good against Rudy Gobert, which is, I think, is a great matchup. Just overall, great matchup. But then you come the last 2. Going against Jokic, that worries me. I think that entire game should be written off and thrown out the window because that is an abomination of a scheduling issue. Okay. I will not, unless for some reason they look and play well, I will not take to heart anything about that game. Nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
They did just fire their coach in Denver, but so I don't care what happens. Okay. But you also had that last game, which is the Dallas game, which could be thrown out the window as well because they could not be playing anybody. So at that point, we get to the point of the playoffs. Let's just say they make it into the regular playoffs. I would like to see 2, maybe 3 games to give a full I was wrong or I was right. Fair or foul?
I mean, still a little bit foul. Come on, like we all know what can happen in the playoffs to anybody, but sitting there and saying like, hey, he hasn't looked like a completely different player the past 6-game stretch is just not true.
Yeah. No,
he has. And I didn't get to watch the Lakers game when everybody was going crazy about it. I watched the Boston game, which was clearly the worst he's looked. And let's be honest, Boston is a uniquely terrible matchup for someone like Zach Edey. Like more than any other team in the playoffs other than maybe OKC.
Yeah.
But the other games, dude, he's looked crazy awesome. So again, part of me is just wondering like how much did Taylor screw the pooch this year? I mean, seriously, like I always like, hey, Edey's just like, it's never going to be good this year. He's a rookie center. I would have said that about basically any other rookie center they possibly could have. But Jesus, maybe it was just that bad of coaching. Like, honestly, it's looking like it. It was unbelievable. So I'm excited for Thursday to see that matchup too. But
all right, so Art's asking a question. One, I love Art. I love all of you. This is a lot of fun. And if I'm wrong, I will be wrong, and I'm okay with that. But you know what? I'm going to go down fighting until we get a definitive answer. He says I'm waiting for him to fail just so I can say that I am right. I've already shown you, Art. Listen up, bud. No, don't take that. I'm kidding. But I was wrong about BC. Completely said that BC was not the player he is or should be. They need to figure out a way to get off of that contract, move on. He's just not going to be. I was wrong. Everybody that loves BC was right. I will say the same thing. If Edey is good in the playoffs or just somewhat playable, I will say that I was wrong. But I want to see that happen. I want to ask you the question, though, because we're on this and we're kind of already off the rails, which is always exciting for me. A redraft, and I saw this come out from Ripped Jitty at Ripped Jitty on Twitter. If there was a redraft right now, and chat, if you don't mind, do me a favor. Write in the chat yes or no. Very simple. If there was a redraft right now, would Zach Edey go in the top 5?
Who went? It was Sar, Ricochet. Who else went this year? What's Shepard? Did he go early?
Stefan Castle.
Castle's top 5? Really?
I think he might have been 6.
Hold on. I gotta find this draft order.
I'm literally looking for it right now.
Yeah, I don't know.
So it's 2024 draft, not 2025 draft, that was the issue. All right, so picks 1 through 4 is Ricochet, Sar, Shepard, Castle, Holland, Tijan Saloon, who was actually in that game tonight, Donovan Clingan, Rob Dillingham, and Zach Edey, and ended with Cody Williams, who is atrocious.
Utah.
God. All right, so if you look at that in a redraft, would Zach Edey go top 5? You would have to obviously move out one of Ricochet, Sar, Shepard, Castle, or Holland at this point.
Okay.
And then you'd potentially somebody move up in front of him.
I'm going to go ahead and say no for a couple of reasons. One, team needs of the top 5 teams. 2, the fact that the teams running those organizations are 1, 2, 3 for 5 abject ass cheeks organizations. Hawks, Wizards, Pistons. I take that back. I'm sorry. I was thinking Charlotte, who drafted 6. Pistons are not run terribly. But just based off need, no, because of those teams. So Spurs and Rockets did not need a center at all.
Hey, Keith's bringing up a great point here. Jared McCain, who I loved, awesome. McCain, by far, is going to go in the top 3, I think. I think Jared McCain was so good. I think he could easily go in the top 3. Stefan Castle, who's been awesome, will probably win the Rookie of the Year, I'd assume. Buzelis, who has been really good. He's playing right now for Chicago and is playing well. It would be very, very tough if Edey got into the top 5.
You know where he'd go? He'd go 9 to Memphis. This is exactly where he would end up going in a redraft. And then Jerry. Hateful Jerry. He's playing great here right now. Just Jerry. Yeah, he's going 9 to Memphis in redrafts. That's exactly what's happening. I hate redrafts. I'll be honest.
Stupid and boring.
I hate redrafts.
All right.
Beside the point. There's another reason Edey's look good. One, he's learning how to use his body like we were talking about tonight, just to give him props again, sealing off, getting the paint. 2, team defense has looked night and day better as well. Shout out to Taylor Jenkins. I am not trying to stomp on dude's grave, but it's like he's gone all of a sudden. Everybody's looks like they're on a string again a lot of the time.
You think he just said F this, like I'm done?
Yeah, I
Like,
don't know what was happening, man. I have no idea. But part of the reason Edie looks good is because he's still doing a ton of drop coverage. It just doesn't look horrible
yeah.
because the rest of the team is defending way better. Like it, he's still like there's plenty of times in the I'm sure it was a Warriors game too, but the Heat game where I'm like, dude, you can't just leave Tyler Hero wide open for three. Please, somebody go and hedge that screen. But all in all, the team defense looks a ton better.
Yeah.
So it's yeah.
The defense has looked better. In all honesty, dude, it's all about effort. They did not have any effort.
Yep.
And to say that this was a bad decision to change this late into the season would be a bad call. In my opinion, when it happened, we were all shocked, right? But the more I thought about it, it was clear you just go ahead and go for it. Like at this point, like what is there to lose? You get a free look at your assistant coach as the head coach. So at this point, you have a look at him, right? And so let's say you were to go out, and I'm not saying you're going to get Michael Malone, but now Michael Malone is gone from the Denver Nuggets. So you have a vet coach that you could go get if potentially you could make things work. You already have a look at the coach that you have under your coaching tree currently. You can just say, "Hey, we're good at where we're at because you got a free look and then potentially a free look at a playoff field." So I think it was a great decision for them to make the decision when they did. I really think they should have made it earlier. I felt like, but I think it had to run its course, and you had to say, out of due respect, I think Taylor Jenkins deserved the respect of what he got. Eventually, as all things come to an end, I think they needed to go ahead and make that decision this season, and I think it was because they did not want to lose the entire season just because the relationship and everything was frayed on all ends. It ran its course, but overall, it is what it is. But let's get into the game real quick. And I know there's a lot of questions. I want to get through this game, so give us 3 or 4 minutes. Let's get through the game. Let's get to the Grizz trivia, and we'll have some updates. We're gonna talk more about Mike Malone in Denver. Potentially, would Mike Malone in Memphis look good? We'll see. Who's going to step up now in the starting lineup for Jalen Wells? There's going to be a lot of other stuff that we'll get into. So let's get through it all. Let's go ahead and talk about this game. The Grizzlies do win the 124-100. Professional win. We've said it already completely. What in the world is John Morant doing with a celebration? Do you love it or hate it?
Yes, it's awesome. It's awesome, dude. It is petty as hell, and I love it, dude. Okay, so first off, I'm not on X very much, but let's just go ahead and address. Even I have seen all these people saying, like, listen, John Morant was warned by the NBA not to do this. For all those people defending the NBA, finding John Morant for that, I just want to say, I hope you all got bidets because I want it to at least be sanitary when you stick your head that far up your ass. Because that is such caping for an absolute cuck worst commissioner in all of professional American sports. Clearly terrible, has no control of anything. That you have to have it up there. I mean, it's just got to be like dark as a no moon night up in there. Because what the hell are we talking about? We just watched Miles Bridges play basketball, and we're getting mad at Ja for pointing finger guns. Dude, I can do this. YouTube won't even make us take it down. Like, what are we talking about? It's insanity. It's so stupid. So the fact that he turns around, and I know so many people are like, dude, he did after the first three, he's throwing it in the league's face. He should throw it in the league's face. I don't care. And in fact, he comes out tonight and he's throwing grenades into the crowd is incredible. It's incredible, dude. I love it. I love every last bit of it. Let's expose Adam Silver for what he is, which is the worst commissioner in American sports. Anyone that thinks Roger Goodell is worse than Adam Silver, not paying attention. Dog. It's crazy. It's crazy. All these people doing all. Draymond has assaulted like 3 different people on an NBA court. Yeah. Like we're sitting here getting mad about this.
Yeah. What do you say about the players that are defending the NBA and their actions of, hey, we're going to say it's okay that Adam Silver is targeting one player. It doesn't matter if the other player. Like, what do you say about former players coming out and backing the league instead of a player and Ja?
I'd say the same thing. It's dumb. And here's why it's dumb. You're only doing it to one player.
Yeah.
If you want to sit there and say, like, oh, David Stern wouldn't allow it, David Stern wouldn't allow anybody to do that. That was the difference.
Yeah.
David Stern had control over the league. David Stern would not let anybody do it. What he's not going to do is say, hey, 2 of these players did this. We're going to quote unquote warn them both, but really we're just warning one. And they both do it the next night, and we're only going to find one of them. They both did it the next game on the same night on the same TV channel. And it's only one of them gets fined. Nah, dude. No chance. Don't care. It's ridiculous.
Well, Ja is now doing the full, after he hits the 3, the full pull the pin out, throw the grenade, and cover the ears, which the covering the ears part is the funniest part to me. Like, in general, like, that is the funniest part for me. And so I enjoy that the most. But I love it. I love being petty. It's probably my favorite thing in life is to be just a little petty. But I see nothing wrong with it. There's no way they can say anything about it. He has no interactions with grenades. I don't think there's ever any issue with a grenade. And so if they were to say something bad about this, then we're talking about a complete targeting that he should rebel against completely. Like this, it would go in so far to one end or the other to say that he was doing something wrong. But on the game, let's wrap this up pretty good. And honestly, I don't know what else we can do on this game besides it being a good win, professional win. The guys played well. They looked like they didn't really care. Like, it was fine. Like, they were just out there having fun. The Hornets did not want to be there. I get it. But in all honesty, I think it was a good win. Nobody really stood out. Zach Edey stood out 17-19. Ja, 28 points, another good win out of him, or a good game out of him, and nobody on the Hornets side. So wrap it up on a bow. Put it in a bow, wrap it up, send it on its way. Final thoughts about the game tonight. 124-100 win.
Good win. Prayers up for Jalen Wells. I hate it. I just hate it. But great win, all in all.
Yep.
All you can do is to go and beat that team by about 1,000, and they did.
Yep, I feel you. All right, but real quick before we get into the Grizz Trivia, what do we have? It is an update. We got a update on the games that are playing right now. The Timberwolves and the Bucks. 3 minutes and 35 seconds. The Timberwolves were up huge on the Bucks.
Oh, were they really?
They are now tied at 97. The fourth quarter, 27-7 run by the Bucks. And so now it is tied. 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter in Milwaukee. Minnesota and the Bucks are tied. So that's one game to watch. Another game to watch is the Lakers and the Thunder. The Lakers are tied with the Thunder. Nobody thought LeBron or Luka was going to play tonight. They both are playing. It is tied 108 with 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. And the Warriors and Suns just started here shortly. So those are the 3 games that we're going to be watching, and we will not be able to be around for the Spurs and the Clippers. I expect the Clippers to handle business. And so we'll get into all of that and much more as we continue this show. Yes, sir.
I just want to pull this up. Allen with the what other player was suspended for gun violations? I'll wait. Malik Beasley, who went to prison for it and did the same celebration the other night. There we go. Sorry. Second, I'll wait. Just wanted to make sure that I did get to Allen's question there. Luka got ejected?
I'm just looking here. Thanks to John, Courtney, and Keith. Luka ejection. No idea. I assume that sounds great.
Yeah, that's not mad about that.
Yeah, not mad about that at all. But the only thing is, if you see the Lakers winning, I'm torn. I kind of want the Lakers to win because if the Lakers win, it keeps them close enough to the Rockets to make the Rockets have to play. The Rockets are very important into this final 3 games, is because the Rockets being a really like feeling that they have to win to keep the Lakers off of them is very important. It keeps them winning and playing big games down the stretch, which is important to me because they have teams that we need them to beat. And so they kind of phone it in, take their foot off the gas. That could be bad for the Grizzlies because they could give up some potential losses that we would hope for these other teams. So we'll get into that and we'll kind of keep watching this game. I assume we'll be here as the Lakers and Thunder end, and then I'll keep us up to date on the actual Timberwolves and the Bucks. But let's go ahead and get into our favorite segment, and that is Grizz Trivia. That's just the music. I apologize. Either. What am I doing all the way down here? All right, that is definitely not the professional one. All right, go ahead and read it off for me.
I'm assuming this was a joke, and I just wanted Alan to actually make me laugh. So I appreciate the levity at the end of that. But go ahead, let's get into your favorite thing.
All right, let's get to it. All right, the Grizzlies have 5 players with a usage percentage of 19% or higher on the season. Who are they? And if you want to have some explanation on usage percentage or a usage rate, estimates the percentage of a team's possessions a player is responsible for ending with a shot, turnover, or a free throw attempt while on the court. So going back to it real quick, the Grizzlies have 5 players with a usage percentage of 19% or higher on the season. Who are they? And then while Nate is trying to figure out this question, we'll go ahead and give him a few minutes and give the chat some time to kind of get these in. But while we're doing this, real quick, hey, this is on me. This is my stuff. This is my show. I'll say whatever I want, right? So do me a favor. If you have kids in the Memphis area / Germantown area, you can have them set up that they play sports, they play baseball, whatever it might be. If you want hitting lessons by me, go ahead and DG hitting lessons. We'll definitely set you up. It's very affordable. The whole reason I got into doing it, one, I do love baseball. I do love giving out lessons just in general. I love the development side of it. So if you're looking for hitting lessons for your kids, whether they're 5, 6, I'd rather them be 6 is the right age. 6 to kind of 6 and up. Really, there's no age. I have some 13 and 14-year-olds that are doing lessons by me as well. But go ahead and go to calendly.com /DG hitting /30. Calendly.com /DG hitting /30. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out there. My number, everything is on there if you need to reach out to me. But the question back to this is the Grizzlies have 5 players with usage of 19% or higher on the season. Who are they? Nate, you want to go ahead and give me a couple?
Jaren.
Okay.
Dez.
Hold on. Got it.
Okay. All right. Scotty. I thought that was going to be a sneaky one. Are all 5 players still on the team?
Yes.
Okay. Don't get too sneaky. Ja. Santi. No way.
All right, so you have Ja.
Turning it over or shooting.
You have Ja, Jaren, and Dez.
Scotty's not on there. Wells. And Santi's not on there either. They're all. Don't be mean. Santi.
So you have Ja, Jaren, and Dez, and you're looking for 2 more to have a usage rate of 19% or higher
Dang.
on the season.
I thought that would have been pretty close. Wells, no.
Let me sift through these real
It's
quick as
shot, assist, or turnover.
all right. So
Luke?
I don't see anybody have
No way.
nobody has it yet. A lot of people have guessed Santi and Pippen just like you have.
Yeah, I thought that'd be money. 19% or higher on the season. Let's see.
Kenny is somewhat close, but not that close.
Edie?
Who?
Edie?
I just want you to say his name again so I could buzz him.
Dude, I don't know. Like, it couldn't be Vince.
Rip Jitty got it.
Couldn't be Gigi. Dude, not BC. I got no idea.
All
Wait, is this a percentage of the time the player's on the court? Is this by the time the player's on the court, or is this overall?
So, okay.
So then Jitty, if Rip Jitty got it.
Let me explain. When they're on the court, it's their usage rate. So what it is whenever they're on the actual court,
turnover.
It is a percentage of the team's possessions a player is responsible for ending with
while
a
they're
shot,
on the court,
turnover, a free throw attempt. So these other two guys are a little bit harder because they don't play as heavy minutes. They are playing a lot of very important minutes. But Rip Jitty has now gotten it for both guys. He got it for the first guy, and now he got it for the second guy.
Gigi? No way. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You know why he got it?
Gigi and
if you take out turnovers, Gigi is not there.
Cam Spencer. Vince. I got no idea. J Huff. I got no clue. J Huff? No way.
J Huff. So your answer.
That's crazy.
The Grizzlies have 5 players with a percentage of 19% or higher on the season. John Morant has a 31% usage rate. Jaren 27.7, Desmond Bain 22.7, and then the two guys that you missed, Gigi Jackson at a 22%. And if you looked when Gigi was on the court tonight, the ball found him almost every single time down the court, and he was making a play definitely towards the end of the shot clock, and that's what he ends up doing. A lot of them are turnovers. And then J Huff, who has been a guy who's been able to get rebounds, putbacks, and different things. So J Huff, percentage of 19.4%. Yep.
That's crazy.
Thought that was funny.
I still, even if I'd have known it's only the percentage of the time the players on the court, I would have gotten Gigi, but I would never have guessed J Huff. Not in a million years, but it kind of makes sense. What you think about it? But
yeah, King Mink says if we had air balls, it would be Luke, but it is definitely not.
No, he'd have to shoot. I don't know what's going on with Luke, man. He didn't just not throw Ja the alley tonight. He didn't put up an open 3 either.
Yeah.
That's wild.
All right, we got a game update real quick. The Bucks are now up 5 on the Timberwolves with 1 minute and 50 seconds to go, and the Thunder have now taken an 8-point lead with 5 minutes to go in the game. So Thunder up, Bucks up, whatever they are playing well. So just going to stay tuned for that. And the Warriors are now up 10 on the Suns in the first already. So that's probably going to be a throwaway on that one. But in general, we'll see. All right, let's get
building it up.
Go ahead.
So I was just going to say, I did just watch the Luka ejection. As a Grizzlies fan, I love it. As a basketball fan, I hate it.
So what happened?
He was yelling. It was in the ref's general direction, but knowing Luka, he was probably yelling at somebody in the crowd, and then the ref said he was yelling at him and threw him out. It was pretty weak, man.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to the little bit of what we were talking about earlier. So the fifth guy. Who's your fifth guy that replaces Wells? I would assume that a lot of people their opinion would be Vince. Is that where you stand just overall?
Yes, and now that you have a new coach, I think that's what'll happen. Taylor would have gone to Luke,
Okay.
but I think you go to Vince now because you got to have somebody who can defend the other team's best perimeter players. It's not going to be Luke. You're not going to start Scotty. You got Vince. That's who you got left. Who, by the way, should be a great defender. He hadn't looked like himself most of the year, but you got a chance to go figure it out now.
Yeah. So they went straight to John Conchar tonight. Do you think that's a Band-Aid? You can trust your vet. And hey, I am Chumas, and I saw Taylor go to this same guy whenever he got in a pinch and went to a guy like John Conchar. Is he a guy who has the lowest usage rate of any player on the team? Just so we're on the same page on who's got the usage rates. John Conchar has the lowest usage rate, which you're okay with, right? Because if he doesn't need the ball, that's fine. But you're going to potentially go to Jitty. Would that be even an option for you?
Yeah, Jitty's an option.
Okay.
He's been sneaky more reliable from three this year, which is the main thing to be worried about. I mean, he's no great shakes defensively, but he's going to be where he's supposed to be. He's going to play hard. He's going to rebound. And so if he can just make a couple of shots for you, that's fine.
Yeah.
Right. And the only other bet you really have is going to be Cam Spencer, who I know a lot of people would love, but it comes back to the same thing. It's a rookie in the playoffs, and not just a rookie in the playoffs. It's a rookie who has hardly played at all in the playoffs. So, again, I think Cam Spencer's got some psycho in him, which I love, but you're probably going to Jitty.
Yeah. And so I think that if you had to bring up three guys overall, I think it could be Vince, Jitty, and maybe Santi just to go big. The problem is it depends on the matchup in that point. I don't think you go to Cam Spencer. One, Cam Spencer cannot play in the playoffs. So that's not where you would go. I know. So unless they were to get rid of somebody off of the roster, then they're not going to go to Cam Spencer because he is not going to be on the playoff roster. He's not going to be eligible just in general. And so just to kind of explain that to everybody, if you're on a 2-week contract, you cannot be playoff eligible. So at that point, he would have to have a real contract.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
That's why they pay me the big bucks right here. But I will say that I think Conchar could be the guy. The problem is like it depends on who you're going against. I think Conchar is a guy that you could go to, play very limited minutes, rely on your other guys if you need to, and he only gets 12 minutes a game. Like that could be an option. So I'm curious what everybody else thinks because I think this is a potential with how they go moving forward. And Lamar Stevens right here that somebody said Lamar Stevens as well could be a great Lamar Stevens could be a guy that you put into the starting rotation. And so very good. And so anyway, so that's my thoughts. I think Lamar Stevens might be up there above Jitty for me. Maybe it just depends on what you're looking for. So
yeah. I think you go Vince, probably Vince, Jitty, Stevens, but Santi, like you were sort of saying. But I think Vince starts. I don't know what other option you have because you can't stick Santi on SGA, which obviously that's pretty extreme. You don't really have anybody. Not many people have anyone for SGA, but you can't do that, right? Or Conchar. So, yeah, I think you go Vince. Okay, it's pretty cut and dry, honestly.
Yeah, I think that's the easiest part is you could go Vince. He just has to play within himself. Like there's just he cannot allow himself to have so many turnovers. That's the biggest thing for him is his turnovers. Once he can get that under control, I think this is a guy that can be honestly in your rotation moving forward. If you go with Vince, that does still shorten up. The problem is like you have three guys off the bench. If you're going 8 deep, just overall, you have Santi that I feel confident in. Scotty, who would be your third guy? you go Luke if you need him, like if you really need offense, or do you say, hey, this is plug and play? I might go Luke some nights. I might go with somebody else some nights. I don't know what direction to go.
You gotta, I mean, you could try going Stevens or Huff, but you really got to try and just get Luke going. Part of the reason why it's a shame that he wouldn't shoot when they're up like 30 tonight. Like, he's got to find a way to start putting the ball in the bucket again. Because otherwise, you, like you said, only have 7 players you can super rely on to do much of anything.
Yeah.
Right? Like, as much as Lamar Stevens was awesome for the Grizzlies last year, he hadn't been able to replicate that this year. And he's got pretty limited minutes. But
yeah,
same time, it just hadn't been there. Like, Luke's the only other guy you look at and you say, hey, this guy can really give me something. And he's not.
Yeah.
You know, you got to be able to make some shots, man. You got to be willing to put them up, too. It's crazy right now.
Yeah, we'll see. I think we'll find out a lot as we move forward to going into that game, just the next game, which is Thursday night against the Minnesota Timberwolves, to which we do have a look ahead from Ryan. So we'll get into that here in just a few minutes. But before we get there, Nate,
Hi.
We have an update. The Bucks have now won. They beat the Minnesota Timberwolves, and so now Minnesota, who was tied for the Grizzlies, who the Grizzlies have an actual tiebreaker. That game on Thursday, if you do lose it, at least you have the tiebreaker head-to-head. It still hurts you because you're going to be completely in the middle of everybody else that's tied, and that hurts you every single time. So hopefully, if you were to win that game Thursday, I think that's a good chance that you're now up, and no matter who's tied, you might lose those tiebreakers, but you will not slide lower than the Minnesota Timberwolves. So if you can win that game, you will stay ahead of them as long as you were to split one of the last 2 games, because there's no way they could catch you at that point. And so that's where you you could lose both games and still be okay. So either way, you won't slide past Minnesota as long as you're up above them. Yeah, you need to be 1 win above them. You carry that tiebreaker with them just overall. So just kind of stay tuned. And then the Thunder are now up 133 to 116 on the Lakers with a minute and a half to go there in the fourth quarter. So both those games are done. And then the Warriors are up 10 on the Suns. All right, since we're talking a little bit more about going ahead and talking about that Minnesota game, I do want to go ahead and get to the look ahead. The look ahead is from Ryan. He's helping us out as always. And no, this will not be a blowout, King Meeks. Spoiler alert.
Let's look ahead to Thursday night's home matchup for the Memphis Grizzlies against the Minnesota Timberwolves. As of recording this on Tuesday, the Grizzlies and the Timberwolves we know are tied record-wise 46 and 32, and it's essentially the same in every other stat category. These are virtually identical teams stat-wise. Pretty much similar shooting percentages, effective field goal percentage, 3-point percentages, offensive efficiency, you name it. They're basically the same team. The 2 main differences between these teams that will probably show up in this game: 1, the Grizzlies are the fastest paced team in the league. The Minnesota Timberwolves are one of the slowest paced teams. On the opposite end, the Grizzlies are one of the, at least recently, worst defenses in the league, and the Minnesota Timberwolves are one of the better defensive teams in the league. So the Minnesota Timberwolves have been giving up about 109 points per game this season. So let's see, in this super competitive battle for seeding to get out of the play-in, let's see who wins the battle of pace versus team defense. And if it's just a bad shooting night for the Grizzlies, both these teams could have bad shooting nights. But if they play about even, which records and all their stats indicate, let's see if the strength of the Timberwolves being defense is what holds this on for them to win, or if the Grizzlies can outrun and gun them and pull out a victory and get out of the play-in scenario for now.
King Meeks says, Ryan, sounds like a Clear Eyes commercial.
Dry eyes. I was thinking about that commercial the other day for some reason.
All right, so let's get into a little bit. Before we do, let's take a step back real quick. Titan MVP gave a super chat. I guarantee, as always, we'll prioritize these chats. So super chat, Titan MVP, always our MVP here. Just wanted to drop by and say hello. And if some people have not heard about Jalen Wells, he does have a broken right wrist. Somebody in the chat said that they could return potentially 30, 40 days from that moment. I don't know how in the world he would be able to play this season at all. The Grizzlies would have to make a big run. And at that point, you're bringing a guy back from a broken wrist, his shooting wrist. A lot of that would be a complete issue. So at that point, that is where we're kind of having to pretty much just write him off. So him and BC off, done for the season. So you're losing two guys that are in your top 8 rotation. But as always, Titan MVP, thank you so much for your super chat. I promise this is really it helps us. It helps the show. Speaking of helping the show, I did see somebody put this up, so I will make sure I share this. But we do have what's his face? God, what is his name? Black Ninja DJ came by, said he hadn't been here in a while, so I just wanted to make sure and say hello to him. But somebody was asking about the show and where it's going. I think it was Lauren that said she's upset that the show could eventually be gone. Just to kind of shed light on it, if you have not heard, our potential is we do not have a contract for next season. And it's not really Bluff City Media's decision. It is me and Nate's decision, just so everybody's clear. It has nothing to do with Bluff City Media. If for some reason let's just say the contract's a different contract for next year, then 100%. We will definitely, we would be back if it was to where we want it to be. The problem is we don't see how it's going to get there. It's not been there. And so at that point, we're making this decision for our family. And so we've already both had conversations with our families, and we don't want to prioritize this over them. And so as our kids get older, we want to spend more time with them, but also be fair to our wives, right? And make sure that we're helping them off as well, and especially at nighttime when kids can be a little cray-cray. And so if for some reason it does turn from just more of a hobby to more of an actual real job, then yes, we'll make that decision and we will be back. But at this time, we want to share that with everybody that we do not expect to be back, because we don't expect to have the contract that we're looking for. So nobody, no ill will, no ill feelings. I love Kenny. I love Bluff City Media. But as of right now, that's the plan. So anyway, sorry to give that. I just wanted to share that because I saw some people in the chat asking about it. The Minnesota Timberwolves. How do you see the Grizzlies playing against them? Because they do have Rudy Gobert, they do have Anthony Edwards, they do have Nasri, they do have Julius Randle. Do you think the Grizzlies match up well, which the Grizzlies have beaten them 2 out of 3 games this season so far? Do you expect them and like them to in their matchup against Minnesota?
Yes, if they're locked in, which they have been. So it's, do you let yourself slip? Do you let the focus lose up at all? Would be my only concern. And can Jaren stay out of foul trouble, which for some reason has come back full force? But by the way, all those nice things I said about Jenna Schroeder earlier in the year, I take them all back. I didn't mean any of that. That was wrong. So, do better, Jenna. But I mean, he still gets like a couple of those fouls tonight. I'm like, how does those, like, both his first 2 fouls were just awful, or his second and third. But hopefully he gets a better whistle. He plays smart basketball and he's able to stay in the game. Because you're going to need him with the Minnesota size. You got to have him. You can't have Jaren not be on the court. So if Jaren can stay there, if they can stay locked in like they have, especially defensively, yeah, I feel really good about it. So we'll see if they can keep it up. But the way they've been playing the past 3 games, I should say, kind of 4. I like how they played against Golden State. I feel good about it.
Well, if we look at this game tonight, just overall, how they completely just lost that game in the very end, they'll have a bitter taste in their mouth, and that can go one way or the other, right? You can either come in pissed off that you lost and take it out on your opponent, or you just say, this is stupid. Everybody's pissed off at each other, and the chemistry is punctured at that point. And so we'll see just overall what that looks like. But to lose the fourth quarter 40-13 is another kind of level of craziness. Like, that's the problem. Like, when you lose 40-13, that's an issue just overall. And so I'm curious what this team looks like and responds, because the Grizzlies are now returning home. They're on a 3-game win streak. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So now Tomas Isolo is 3-3 in his career. They're returning home. The biggest game of the season will be Thursday night at the Grindhouse. And so at that point, I think the Grizzlies show up. The Grizzlies should have the best player on the court. At the end of the day, that comes down to, Ja versus Edwards. Who can actually be the better player? I think the Grizzlies have the edge in most areas. If you're looking at the big three, I think that they have the edge. I think if they can keep Rudy Gobert, which I think Rudy Gobert sucks just in general, I think you can play him off the court pretty easily. But it's all about Naz Reid, and I honestly think it's about Zach Edey, in my opinion.
Yep. Zach Edey keeps playing like he's playing. That helps lock it in too. Biggest thing, though, in my opinion, is team defense and Jaren, which kind of go hand in hand when you think about it. But got to be able to have him on the floor, because you just don't have the size if Jaren's not there.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see with that game just overall and see how it plays out, within everything. But Wayno had a question earlier about Zion Pullen. Zion Pullen is the kid that's with the G League team, the Hustle. He's actually injured and out for the season. He is on is he on the two-way? No, he's not on a two-way. He's on a G League contract. So he's not even on the two-way because I could be wrong. Am I wrong? Yes, I am wrong. He is on the two-way.
No,
I apologize. He is on the two-way because it's I forgot about Yuki, Cam Spencer, and Zion Pullen. And so yes, he's on the contract. He's out hurt for the season. And so their season is officially over for the Hustle. But yeah, Zion Pullen is pretty good. He's a scorer. He's a small guard, but he is a scorer. Last thing, Mike Malone. Your thoughts, initial thoughts, just overall on him getting fired with, I guess, 3 games left in the season for them?
I don't know, man. Maybe it's like a sort of the outsider thing that happened with Memphis, where people were like, what happened here? But with Memphis, we all saw like Taylor had clearly lost the locker room. They were trending the wrong direction for an extended period of time, right? It wasn't like, hey, you had a bad couple weeks. It's like, hey, you've had a bad 3 months. It's like, it was pretty brutal. Also, Chandler Jenkins didn't win a championship 2 years ago.
Right.
Like, that's crazy. In my mind, he must have lost the locker room. Like, there's no other way that you make that move, because I see Chicken Unicorn, first off, always an amazing name. Absolutely love it. You disagree with the owners. That might be the case, but most owners, no matter how much you make them mad in the heat of a moment, if you just won a championship and they think you can still do that job, like, they're going to keep you going.
Yeah.
I imagine he had to have lost Jokic. He had to have lost Murray. Players couldn't have been responding to him anymore. But 2 years after a championship is crazy. Firing Booth makes a lot more sense to me, because that roster had gone sort of like, honestly, like I've been saying with Kleiman, even though maybe I was wrong, but the roster has seemed, since that championship, it keeps getting worse and worse. But Malone's pretty crazy to get fired this point in the season, especially, again, he just won a championship.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe the Grizzlies are trendsetters. Maybe they're playing chess, not checkers, in the Grizzlies front office. But I think he's a great coach too. I think that's played itself out.
Well, from my understanding, him and so Calvin Booth was having issues just overall with Mike Malone. Mike Malone was having issues with Calvin Booth. And so at that point, we're talking about 2 guys who disagreed on a lot of things. And you have to be able to say, hey, like, they just had issues. Like, that's the biggest thing. And so they had beef, and they couldn't get past their beef. And so because of that, I think the owner finally said, all right, I'm done with you, dude. Like, I'm not going to put up with this. And so I think that's what it comes down to just overall. So we'll see.
But they fired them both.
Correct. So, okay. So Calvin Booth was a lame duck GM. Okay. So he was not, his contract was not picked up for next season. So he was about to be let go after the end of the season. Because of all the riff that was coming up, they decided we're going to get rid of both of you, because they were letting go of Mike Malone. They went ahead and just said, hey, we're getting rid of Calvin Booth as well this late into the season. What happens is, like, there's so many scouting and everything that's taking place right now. Like there's different things, right? There is the operation side, there's the player side, right? And so they're playing the games, but behind the scenes, they're getting ready for the draft. And so there's a lot that's happening and taking place for next season. That's a whole nother side of the business. And so because of that, the GM is very important. So what you'll see is they're probably going to hire a GM within the next few weeks, I would assume. And at that point, that starts taking the level of next year, and it has nothing to do with this season. This season is done. Like it's cooked. Like whatever happens, right? The GM can't affect it, but the GM can affect it going forward. So that's why they went ahead and made the decision to get rid of both of them at the same time.
Yeah, I understand getting rid of Booth. I don't really understand getting rid of Malone. This doesn't make much sense to me. But listen, there could be plenty that we haven't seen. Like, I don't pay much attention to the Nuggets night in and night out. So maybe there's something that I just hadn't seen night in and night out.
Yeah. All right. Well, last thing we'll do is give an update here on our guy, and that is Jalen Wells. And so obviously he does, that's on his Instagram. He says, obviously he does have the broken wrist. You can see it there in the picture. But he does look a little banged up just overall. And so that's an issue. And so, no, that's not Jalen Wells crying. That is Nate's kiddo crying over there. Thankfully, I do not have one of those.
Oh, sorry. Usually you can't, that noise doesn't reach here. Sorry about that. Yeah, he's having a bad moment.
Yeah, no, I understand. But anyway, that's it for the show. I hope everybody's had a good time. Nate, have anything that you want to say before we get out of here?
No, excited for Thursday night. It's the first time that I missed Grizzlies basketball in a while when we had that 2-game hiatus. I was like, man, I missed the Grizzlies playing, which has not been the case all year. So excited to get them back on Thursday night and get some more celebrations.
All right, that's all we got. Thank you all for joining us. As always, we got a little double dipper Thursday and Friday night before we get into the weekend, and hopefully a big win on Sunday, the last home game of the year. But Thursday night at the Grindhouse, make sure you show up if you have the chance to get to the game. It's going to be a great one because it has so much playoff implications that are going to be happening. If the Grizzlies can win that one, that really sets them up to get out of the play-in and get them a top 6 seed for sure. So you never know what could happen. The Grizzlies, they might keep going the right direction. We'll see. But thank you all for hanging out with us tonight here at Grizz 901. For Nate and everybody behind the scenes. Yeah, it's just us. Thank you all for hanging out with us tonight. Be nice and tell your friends.